Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Unless, of course, you're talking about Science Talk Radio. Welcome to Fudge the Data.
Science will save the day. Science, let's shout hooray. The world gets better every day because of science. Science!
Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fudge the Data, here with Loay
And Simon.
Alright, there we go.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, so this week we decided to talk about cancer, a very serious topic. It's November, and there's a lot of people with mustaches around, a lot of guys, a lot of girls who sometimes they draw mustaches on or put the mustache
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them on campus, actually.
I could see a fake mustache, like a sticky mustache.
Yeah, yeah, so they do that. Anyways, it's a month to kind of bring out awareness to testicular cancer in general, men's health, and keep in mind cancer as well. So that's why we're doing an episode on cancer.
Yeah, we'd bring you a whole episode devoted to the big C word, because, well, not that C word, but you know what we're saying. It's one of those things that is one of the major killers in North America and across the whole world. I think it's the #1 cause of death in developed countries, and it's the #2 cause of death in developing countries.
Wow.
So it's very important for human life and for other animals as well. It's one of those things that can really cause a lot of harm to a lot of people.
Yeah. So what is cancer? Just jump right into it.
I have no idea.
Well, me either. Let's just go home.
Yeah, let's get out of here. I'm done. That's it. Show's over. Good job, everyone. Another week. All right. What is cancer? Cancer is basically just a large family of diseases that all have the same characteristic of abnormal cell growth. And this abnormal cell growth is always coupled with the ability for it to be invasive to other parts of the body. Exactly. And those two things together are what we know as cancer.
Yeah, so it's just a bunch of cells that are reproducing and forming a tumor, essentially. And the reason why cancer is bad is because this tumor can invade other organs, it can put pressure on nerves, on other tissue, and can cause damage that way.
Yeah, it causes a whole host of damages to your body through those mechanisms, and it does a whole bunch of crazy things that we're gonna go through a little bit of what it does, how it's formed, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit about one of these crazy things that is always talked about. Yeah. So you mentioned the word tumor. Obviously, that's one of the main things that everybody thinks of when they think of cancer.
Right.
But actually, I'm going to start the ball rolling. We're going to debunk that right away. They actually form what's called neoplasms. Yeah. We're already ruining your day. So a neoplasm is from the Greek, which means a new formation, neo, and plasma. Plasma is formation.
Right.
So basically, a neoplasm is what we refer to as a tumor. But a tumor actually means just any swelling.
Yeah.
So even something as little as a bug bite can be referred to as a tumor. Yeah. Something like scar tissue, that's a tumor. But a neoplasm is actually what's known to us as a tumor and what you would think of as a cancerous tumor. The thing with tumors is that there's different subsets of tumors and subsets of, therefore, neoplasms. They can be benign. And that's one that you hear a lot. You hear a lot of the words. The main ones you hear are benign and malignant. There's two other ones as well. But benign basically means that it can't invade other body parts.
Right. It's localized.
Exactly. And a word you might have heard to describe that is called metastasize. And this is a word that means that the cancer has been able to invade other body parts. And that's one of the things that makes it a cancer, is that it's able to invade other body parts. It's able to metastasize. So a benign tumor can't metastasize, therefore it's not a cancer cell. It's actually, like, something that's benign is technically not cancer.
Right, it's just a tumor in the body.
Exactly, and this something that's benign, it could be like a mole or something like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a collection of cancerous cells either. It could be
exactly
many different things.
Yeah, something like a mole. I don't think a mole is cancer cells. I'm not actually sure what a mole is.
Yeah, maybe we can do an episode on that. I don't know what a mole is either, actually.
All right, well, yeah, that's something to think about in the future. There's also something called in situ tumors. And these are, in situ is Latin for in its place. We use that a lot in ecology to describe, like, you know, when an organism is in situ, it means it's in the environment that it was meant to be in. So an in situ tumor basically means it's kind of referred to as a pre-cancer. It's like the abnormal growth is localized to the area that it should be in. So something like skin cancer is commonly referred to as in situ because the cells are only on the skin, or something. So basically it just means it's localized in the area that the cells should actually be in, and they haven't yet invaded other tissues.
Okay.
So that's in situ. It's localized. Then the other one that everybody knows is called malignant, and this is the one that you think of as cancer. A malignant tumor or a malignant neoplasm is cancer. It's the abnormal growth that has the capability and is metastasizing. It is going to other body parts.
Okay.
Yeah, so that the malignant one is cancer. Benign is technically not cancer, but still a tumor. Kind of confusing in the terminology. There's also a fourth group that's basically just unknown. They don't know why it happened or where it came from.
Okay, so pretty much any part of the body can get cancer. You can get cancer in your bones, your blood, your muscles, your nervous... Well, that's another interesting one, your nervous tissue, your skin, and that's how cancer is categorized. So there's carcinoma, and that affects epithelial cells. So that can be your skin, your nasal cavity, for example, or anything that has epithelial cells. There's lymphoma and leukemia that affects the lymph nodes and blood vessel and blood. Blastoma, and this affects embryonic tissue. It's fairly common in children. Children get mostly this kind of cancer. There's also germ cell tumors or germ cell cancer, and these are for testicular and ovarian cancer. And there's one more, it's called sarcoma, and that's for connective tissue, like bone cancer, cartilage, and so on. Yeah.
The interesting thing about germ cell tumors or neoplasms is that, as you say, they're commonly found in the testes and the ovaries, and this is because they actually form from stem cells.
Right.
They're stem cells that have somehow undergone some kind of mutation that has caused them to, or some other thing that has caused them to abnormally grow in a cancerous way.
Right.
And that's why they're commonly found in the testes or the ovaries, because you have a lot of stem cells there that are able to develop further into your germ cells, your sperm and your eggs.
Cool. So now that we're on this topic, how does cancer start in a body?
Oh well, there's actually quite a few cool ways. When you're thinking of it from a biological aspect, maybe not for the actual people. But most cancer Loay's losing it over there. Cancer pretty much always has a genetic background. It starts from some kind of genetic mutation or malfunction. The thing there's a couple different things that people really don't think about when you think of genes. There's two interesting gene types. One is called oncogenes, and oncogenes are things which actually promote cell growth.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they promote cell growth, and they also promote replication. There's another type of gene that's called tumor suppressor cells, or tumor suppressor genes, sorry. And these genes do exactly what you would expect based off the name. They inhibit cell division, they inhibit cell survival, and they inhibit cell growth. So the changes in these genes can often have variable effects on the phenology, or what actually is shown in your body. Basically, the formation of novel oncogenes, or the inappropriate expression of oncogenes, or the underexpression of tumor suppressor genes, can all cause different types of cancer. And often it's a variable combination of any of these three types of things. And all of these come from different types of places, different types of mutations, and a whole wide range of things can cause these mutations. It's very variable because, as we know, there's so many different types of cancers. It's unreal. Pretty much every type of tissue can have a different type of cancer.
Yeah, and that's why cancer is such a difficult thing to treat. Before people were like, we're going to find the cure for cancer. We're going to find the cure for cancer. But now people have come to the understanding that cancer is not just one disease. It's a host of a lot of different diseases that should be treated in many different ways. So finding the silver bullet has become kind of out of the question, and more of treating different cases separately.
Yeah, it's got to be done on very case by case. Everyone is very different, and the causes are very different. A couple of the weird kind of causes that can happen from a mutation standpoint. is that you can, through problems in mitosis, in cell division, you can actually gain or lose entire chromosomes.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty serious one, but that can cause a genetic shift in the number of oncogenes or tumor suppressor genes that you have within a cell. And if say you have this happen, you get a chromosome, you get an extra chromosome in a new cell that has an extra oncogene or 10 extra oncogenes. Then you're producing a whole that cell is able to grow and divide at a much higher rate than normal, and then it's able to accumulate in the body and produce further daughter cells, further offspring that will have the same type of chromosome arrangement.
Yeah.
So that's one way. Another way is basically just small scale mutations. You can have an issue like a single mutation, a single nucleotide mutation. Hopefully people know what that means. Just like one ATCG, because our DNA is made up of the 4 nucleotides. So you can have one letter change, and that can affect the ability of the oncogene or the tumor suppressor gene to do its job. And then if they're not in balance, bad things can happen, such as cancer. Something like a single mutation is usually not as effective as say like a whole chromosome mutation, obviously, but it can seriously have an effect. Another way is a kind of cool way. You can actually integrate a viral genome into your own genome. And that's happened a lot through human evolution, and currently, when you get a virus, often their reproductive means involves inserting their own genes into your genome. And this can happen, and if, say, it cuts your oncogene or something in half when it's inserting, that can, again, have an effect. So that's another way that the genetic background of how cancer can start. It's pretty intense stuff, and it's a huge field, but that's just, a real nitpick thing. But malignancy in tumors is often a chain reaction of any one of these or all of these things. Say, like, you have a single mutation that causes an error in error correcting, because when your DNA replicates, it auto-corrects itself. But if you have an error in the protein that auto-corrects itself, then you have further errors. Say then you get an error in an oncogene, and then you get an error in your tumor suppressor gene, then it's able to just grow and go crazy. So it's often a chain reaction.
And so essentially what it is we have cells dying and cells being formed in our bodies all the time. What cancer is there's an imbalance in this equation here, where you have more cells being made in a certain part of the body than normal, and these cells will kind of clump together and mutate. Their DNA will keep mutating until they become cancer cells, and cancer cells usually reproduce at a higher rate than normal cells as well. And the bad thing about that is our bodies are really good at finding foreign objects or foreign bodies and fighting them. But because cancer cells are our own cells, they're from our own bodies, it's very hard for our immune system to locate them and fight them. And that's why cancer is such a hard thing on the body and for people as well.
I'm not sure about this because I didn't actually research it, but I don't know what kind of I don't know if you know if there's any kind of autoimmune response that happens from cancer. I'm sure there would be, because
very rarely, very weak autoimmune things, and I will talk about that a bit later. About kind of a treatment option where you trick the body into finding these cancer cells as foreign objects.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, there's 6 kind of characteristics, say, of a typical cancer, or of any cancer, actually. These are the 6 characteristics that make up what is a cancer cell and what is a neoplasm. So one, it's self-sufficient in growth. We've kind of talked about that a bit already. It's able to grow and replicate by itself in large numbers. 2, it's insensitive to anti-growth signals. So your body actually produces a lot of anti-growth signals for cells, so that this kind of cancerous cell type thing doesn't normally happen. But that's not always the case, especially in cancer cells. They become insensitive and they're able to just grow and divide. Number 3 is they're able to evade apoptosis, and apoptosis, not to be called apoptosis, as any Todd Smith student will firmly say. Apoptosis is programmed cell death. So basically, your body's cells have a certain lifespan, and after they pass that lifespan, they die. They kind of explode themselves almost. to put it in interesting terms. But yeah, it's a normal thing that happens, but cancer cells are able to evade this. Number 4, they have limitless replicative potential. So they have this ability to grow really fast, and they also have a huge ability to replicate.
Right, yeah.
And number 5, they're able to induce and sustain the development of blood vessels. So they're actually able to hijack your blood vessels and create new blood vessels from them to feed the growing neoplasm. And then number 6 is metastasis, which we've already discussed as well.
Spread, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 90 to 95% of cancers are due to environmental factors. I don't know if you ever knew that.
Yeah, as opposed to heredity
factors.
factors.
As opposed to heredity, It's only like 5 to 10 for heredity.
Yeah, and it probably, no, I knew that.
Yeah, so I had a couple things too, just because I thought that was really interesting, because, that's a huge percentage.
Yeah, what causes cancer?
Yeah. Tobacco, that's one of the main things. It's one of the biggest ones.
Cancer,
25 to 30% of cancer cases are caused by tobacco.
Yeah.
Obesity, diet, and physical exercise causes about 30 to 35 percent of cases. Infections, like how I talked about viral genomes and other types of things. They cause about 15 to 20%. And then radiation.
Radiation is a big one, exposure to like nuclear radiation, sun as well, not just like electromagnetic radiation or whatever. And cell phones. There has been no link between cell phones and testicular cancer or any kind of cancer.
Oh, really? That's good to know.
Yeah, so there's absolutely
I always thought,
no link.
even till this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and okay, so maybe we can talk about why does radiation or why do any of these things are carcinogenics?
Sure, yeah.
Tobacco, for example, cigarettes. When you smoke cigarettes, there's a lot of chemicals in there that are carcinogenic. These chemicals, first of all, cause your DNA to mutate at a faster rate, and that's one of the reasons why cancer happens. And the other reason is because when you smoke tobacco, you injure your lungs. And your lungs have to keep repairing themselves. And the more they have to make new cells, the more there's a chance for having mutations in the DNA.
Yeah, something interesting about DNA. When it's replicated, we have such a huge amount of DNA. And it's constantly replicated. You're replicating DNA all the time. The probability of having a mutation per every replication is actually extremely high. So that's kind of why.
Yeah, I mean, even though our bodies are really good in keeping those mutations in check, but when you have a lot of them happening because of something like smoking, where you're putting damage on tissue,
anything to increase the probability is pretty scary, because the probability is already really high.
And certain radiation also directly affects the structure of the DNA, like UV light.
Yeah, it can knock out a base pair or something like that.
Yeah, that's why they say you have a higher risk of getting skin cancer if you go out in the sun, if you don't wear protection and so on. So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, you had mentioned the word carcinogen. That's one of the buzzwords around cancer. So I just thought I'd throw out what it actually is. So a carcinogen is well, pretty much it's any substance that's an agent in causing cancer. And everybody kind of knows that, but it's one of the buzzwords, so I figured I'd explain it a bit. One of the main ways that a carcinogen actually causes cancer is that it can damage the genome, as we've discussed just now, or it can also disrupt metabolic processes, and that can damage your DNA and it can damage the cells.
Right.
So I have a couple examples of carcinogens that I thought were pretty common. I thought people might know them, or will probably know them. Asbestos is obviously one that's been in the news a lot for the past 10-ish years, I'd say.
Right.
I don't know. Asbestos, it's like a crystalline thing, right?
And you know why it works, because it
like
damages it breaks the tissue, and then you have more mutations because of the fixing the tissue. Yeah,
it breaks the lung tissue, right? Yeah, so that's asbestos. Benzene and other aromatics, that's one of the buzzwords. UV light, another one. Wear your sunscreen.
Yeah.
Be smart when you're out in the sun. Lead.
Lead is a big one.
Lead's a big one, yeah. Quinone. I don't know if people know quinone. It's I won't even
I drink a lot of tonic water.
Yeah, exactly.
And I swear by that stuff.
Yeah, like gin and tonic, apparently quinone, I don't know. It could be a carcinogen.
Oh, that's crazy. Don't do that to me.
It's been done.
I always tell my roommates I'm drinking quinone so I don't get sick.
Well,
that's one of my reasons for drinking tonic water.
But see, everything's a carcinogen.
Everything
So-
can be carcinogen. You know what? You're right.
Yeah, it's one of those things like starlight's a carcinogen.
Broccoli, yeah.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
looking someone in the eyes is a carcinogen.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I mean, for sure, there are certain things are more.
Yeah.
More.
Oh yeah,
carcinogenic
totally.
than other things,
Formaldehyde is another one.
yeah.
And a couple of interesting ones. Helicobacter pylori, the bacteria
bacteria.
that causes ulcers.
Yeah.
That's a known carcinogen because
Really?
the way it causes ulcers is that it actually produces what's called free radicals,
Okay.
which
wow.
are able to. Well, I don't know. They're basically things that are really damaging to tissue. They're able to.
free radicals do damage.
Yeah, they're able to kind of kill tissues.
Huh.
So yeah, the bacteria that causes ulcers is a known carcinogen.
That's
an-
interesting. Yeah.
Another one is human papillomavirus. The causative
HPV,
agent for
yeah.
genital warts is a known carcinogen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Are we still on what is cancer here? How much time are we at on this? Like 20 minutes?
Yeah. Well, I think we can move on to something else.
All right.
What the symptoms of getting cancer? What happens when you get cancer? How do you notice, and what happens to your body?
Well,
That is case specific. Obviously.
It's extremely broad.
Yeah.
Symptoms of cancer are well, pretty much anything.
Uh-huh.
It's really hard to knock down, what kind of cancer it is, and even if you have symptoms of a certain type of cancer, because you could have like a fever. And,
Yeah.
Then that's a symptom.
Symptom can cough or weight loss or whatever.
It's very dependent on where the cancer is, the size already of the cancer, because it grows and develops and metastasizes. So the size and where it is really affect what symptoms you're going to show, and also how effective it is in actually damaging and pressing on your tissues, pressing on your nervous system, your blood vessels, et cetera, like what it's actually doing to your system.
Yeah, I mean, cancer is known to be a very painful disease. If you have, say, brain cancer, the tumor would start pushing against brain tissue. Brain tissue doesn't have nerve. You can't feel your brain, but you start getting headaches because of the cancerous tissue would basically start pushing against your skull, and thus you start getting really large migraines for long periods of time. Another very common pain is bone pain, and that's when tumors start pushing against the bone. Or grow into the bone. That's one of the most painful things I've heard. A few pains are when the tumors start to push against nerves, and you start feeling like a burning sensation, very severe burning sensation, pain, or different sensations just because of the tumor pushing against nerves.
Mm-hmm. But the thing with cancer is that these symptoms that you're saying, they often only happen at later stages of cancer development, once it's already quite large.
Right.
Something like pancreatic cancer is almost asymptomatic until it's already metastasized.
Yeah.
It's like we say, it's very case specific. But yes, it is often very painful or causing weird other side effects as well. Common things though that are cancer symptoms or signs of cancer is that there's often a lot of fatigue, there's often fever, and there's often weight loss. And these are basically due to the use of your body's energy for the growth of this cancer, as opposed to your normal metabolic processes and your normal cell development. A lot of your body's energy is actually being funneled into this cancerous growth, which is pretty scary to think about. Because it's kind of using your own. It is you.
Yeah, it is.
But it's you out of control.
Yeah.
And it's sucking pretty much your will to live.
Yeah. That's very weird. And how does cancer spread? We've used the word metastasize or metastasis a few times.
Yeah.
And it essentially means the spreading of cancer. And the way it does is, say you have a localized tumor somewhere in your body, a cancerous tumor growing. What happens is, because there's a lot of blood vessels, the tumor gets a lot of blood vessels around it to feed itself. One cancerous cell or a clump of those cells might break from the tumor and go in that blood vessel and travel to another part of the body. So it can travel through the blood vessels or through the lymphatic system. We have a lot of lymphatic veins, I guess they're called, or
I'm not sure.
Tubes, nodes.
Well,
tubes.
There's nodes.
Yeah, tubes, tubing, plumbing.
Lymph plumbing. All right, we'll go with that. I like that.
Yeah, so it's through the lymphatic system and the blood vessels. That's why lymphatic cancers are fairly common too, because it's very easy for the cancer cell to travel throughout the body that way. And it's there's an analogy. It's called the seed and soil analogy. I'm not sure if you've read it.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, so what it is cancer cell is, look at it as a seed, and look at your body as soil. Not all cancer cells can grow in all parts of your body. It's just like how not every seed can grow in every kind of soil. So you have to have the right type of soil at the right conditions, being your tissue, the right type of tissue at the right conditions, for the right type of seed, being the type of cancer to grow in. Like brain cancer, for example, or brain tumors are rarely spread throughout the body, and if they do, they're usually localized within the spinal cord and other nervous tissue. And certain types of cancer are really good at spreading it into certain parts, and that's the seed and soil analogy.
Interesting. I had no idea. I had always thought it was just, kind of a free-for-all in there.
Yeah, but there's a few, that's a classic evidence. There's new evidence that say cancer cells spread a little bit differently, where they thought nervous tissue cancer was always constricted to nervous cells, but a new research showed that nervous tissue cancer actually spreads by blood vessels that grow around the nervous tissues, as opposed to being on the nerves themselves. So yeah. I don't know.
Well, I mean, something like that makes sense. It would be hard to travel through a nerve cell because they're very small.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a little scary. I have just kind of a whole whack load of common symptoms. I thought it would be kind of interesting just to throw them out and see what you think. So some common symptoms. I've already said a few of these, but there's later ones that are interesting. So fever, weight loss, fatigue, pain. Those are ones I've said before. Changes in your skin are also often relevant.
Right, yeah.
Something like jaundice can happen, which is the yellowing of the skin when the cancer actually affects the entrances to your pancreas, where your bile is. So if your bile is not going as well as it should be, then you end up yellowing. There's also other pigmentation problems that can happen. Changes in your bowel habits, like diarrhea or constipation, and changes in your bladder function, like excessive urination or excessive not urination, blood in the urine, stuff like that. Sores, which don't heal, which is kind of gross. Okay. White patches in the mouth and tongue. I don't know. Apparently that's something. Blood in your discharge, like again, urine, stool, apparently in breast milk too, tears, stuff like that. Lumps, the common one, lumps on your body, where the neoplasm is growing. Indigestion, because a lot of cancers can affect your stomach, your intestines, your stomach lining, stuff like that. Trouble swallowing, because there's esophageal cancer and other throat cancers. Changes in your warts and moles. Earlier I had said that warts were benign, and that they're not that they're tumors, but not always neoplasms. Or I don't, now I'm even confusing myself with terminology. But anyway, warts can change. Warts can actually advance. They can switch from being benign to being malignant. If there's some kind of change in the genes, and that can happen due to simple mutations, which is something to look out for. So if you have a mole, or a mole or a wart, make sure you check it regularly.
Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, nagging cough is another one.
Yeah, persistent cough.
Yeah, but again, that's very common, and swollen lymph nodes.
Swollen lymph nodes is
it's such a it's one of those things that's like any
symptom you got,
every illness is like, you swollen lymph nodes, cancer. Okay, it's that.
That's why every time you Google a symptom to see what's happening with you, it always comes out with cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's weird.
Swollen lymph node.
Yeah.
One of the worst. I don't know. It's so hard to deal with anything with swollen lymph nodes because everything says it has swollen lymph nodes. But yeah.
Yeah. So, because it's November, we want to talk a little bit more about testicular cancer.
Yeah, we do.
And as the name sounds, or as the name suggests, testicular cancer is cancer that affects males and the testicles. And let me see here. So it affects about 1 in 200 men. So you have maybe a 0.4% chance of getting testicular cancer. It's a good idea to keep that in mind. But a few sources online, like American health sources and Canadian health sources, recommend against regular screening or checking of testicular cancer in men. And that's because you can cause more damage from doing that, or you can induce certain cancers by doing that.
Yeah, you know, they actually, it's kind of a weird thing. They actually recommend against cancer screening for a number of different types of cancers, like bladder cancer, testicular cancer, as you've said, ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer, and prostate cancer. They all recommend not doing medical cancer screenings.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also because, you know, it puts a burden on the medical system. About 25% of all cases of testicular cancer that go to the hospital, 25% of them are false.
Yeah.
So the doctors have to go through all the procedures to make sure it's right and all that stuff, and it kind of puts a burden on the system. And if you do it yourself, you can get misdiagnosis, and there's, you know, sometimes there's no treatment, sometimes there's treatment. We don't know what's happening. It's, you know.
Yeah, cancer screenings are also notoriously expensive,
right.
And it's also very difficult to determine if there is a cancer, and even if there is, what type of cancer it is. So yeah, cancer screenings are, it's kind of a weird thing that it's actually recommended against for a lot of cancers.
Yeah, but it's recommended to start doing checks when you feel symptoms. So
self checks are very important. For any type of cancer.
Exactly. So if there's lumps, if you feel any lumps, if you feel sharp pain. If you feel sharp pain in your testicles or in the lower abdominal areas, sometimes it's a deep, not sharp, but dull pain as well. If you feel heaviness in that area, it could be signs of testicular cancer. But the good thing about testicular cancer is in 95% of cases it's curable.
Oh, that's good.
You can do surgery, remove testicles, or chemotherapy and all that stuff. We'll talk more about treatment in a second. But it's 95% cases it's curable, and if you discover it within the first 2 years, it's 99% curable if you're within the right medical resources. So it's not too bad, and a lot of side effects become hormonal, where it can affect the way your body produces hormones, and can causes your mood swings, it causes breast tissue development in men and all that stuff. And there's 3 stages of testicular cancer. The first one is called stage 1. And what it is that's when the cancer is localized in the testicles, so it hasn't spread throughout the body. Stage 2 is when the cancer has spread, but it stays below the diaphragm, so it doesn't go up to your lungs, or it stays below the diaphragm. And stage 3 is when it's like full blown, spread out throughout your body. And as you go up the stages, it gets harder and harder to treat, and causes more severe effects.
Yeah, those stages are often referred to in other types, or almost always referred to in other types of cancers as well. There's different stages for all types of cancers, whether it be localized or have already metastasized.
So the stages is how well spread it is in the body.
Yeah.
And you know what? Speaking of metastasizing, I've heard a lot about surgery or opening up your body spreads the cancer at a faster rate. Do you know why?
You know what? I'm not sure.
I was thinking about that now, and it could be because, I'm not sure if it's true or not, first of all, but if it is, it could be because there's a lot of blood movement. And
I would say like oxygenating it or something.
And you're like cutting the tissue, making it more loose, more free to escape through the blood. I don't know. Anyways.
Well, I mean, cancer, when it's there, pretty much anything that is done to it is not going to help. It's probably going to make it worse, because anything that accelerates its growth is going to, accelerate its growth. There you go.
So we don't want cancer, and there's a few ways we have today to kind of either cure cancer, reduce its effects, slow its growth, and so on. So the most common one is called chemotherapy. Do you want to talk more about that, or I can?
Yeah, sure. I mean, why not? Sure. So chemotherapy is the buzzword again that we all know, and it uses what's called cytotoxic anti-neoplastic drugs.
Right.
And it uses these on a chemotherapy regime. So it's very timed and very scheduled way of applying and administering your drugs. So these cytotoxic drugs, basically all that means is that they're used to kill cells. That's what cytotoxic means. And anti-neoplastic, as we know from my little talk there, neoplasm is a cancer cell, and see how it all works. Oh, lovely. So cytotoxic anti-neoplastic drugs kill cells that reproduce quickly. And these are often tumor cells, but these are often also not tumor cells. There's a lot of cells in our bodies that reproduce very quickly. Things like cells in the bone marrow that are used in developing new red blood cells. Because we go through red blood cells like nobody's business, man. They have a really short lifespan. I don't remember how long, but it's just very short. I think it's like 1 day or something.
A lot of epithelial cells also are produced quickly, like cells in our mouths, in our mouth, digestive tracts.
In our digestive tract especially.
And hair cells.
And hair cells, there you go.
That's another very common side effect of chemo is hair loss. Because hair cells are produced quickly, and the drugs affect them and kill them.
Exactly. The activity of these cytotoxic drugs are how you see all those symptoms or all those side effects of chemotherapy that are so common in the media, in TV, movies, and things. Something like the hair loss, as you've said, is because it damages your hair follicles. It kills the cells that produce new hair. It also causes mucositis, which is an inflamed digestive tract because your cells in the digestive tract are being killed.
Yeah, and that causes a lot of weight loss.
Causing the weight loss and vomiting.
Yeah, the vomiting
is
well.
very common in chemotherapy patients.
Right.
And then the lowered production of blood cells because of the damage to the marrow is lowering your immune system, which can cause a lot of other infections to come. And that's why a lot of people who are in who are being administered lots of chemotherapy drugs are often have to be housed in hospital and often in very sanitary, very quarantined areas.
Right, wear masks and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the other option would be surgery, where you literally remove the cancer, and that's common in testicular cancer, breast cancer, and a lot of some other types of cancer, some brain tumors.
Before we go on, actually, there's something cool I forgot to mention. There's something called photodynamic therapy.
Yeah, so we do actually research on that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say. There's a master's student in my research methods class who's working on photodynamic therapy, and this is basically using chemotherapy drugs that are only active under certain light sources.
Yeah.
So they have this. So you put a drug into a patient, and then it's inactive. But it's localized.
It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything, but it's localized in the area where the cancer cells are. Yeah. And then you shine a light on that area, and the light activates the chemotherapy drug and thus kills the cancer cells. And it's supposed to kind of limit the side effects that are seen with most chemotherapy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think and that comes in conjunction with radiation therapy, where you shoot radiation at a specific area.
Exactly.
And this way you'll limit the side effects all over the body. Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool way of fighting cancer.
Yeah. Yeah, radiation therapy though, that's a whole other bag of tricks because it uses ionized radiation to actually damage the DNA of the cancer cells, and then when the DNA is damaged in these cells, it actually causes them to die.
Yeah.
So that sounds good, but ionizing your body with radiation that doesn't sound so good, and it's in fact not very good. There's many side effects, and these are often localized to just the area that has been radiated, but it often causes a whole host of things, including nausea. Damage to the epithelium, which is like your skin or your like we said, digestive tract, mouth cells, stuff like that. Fatigue, swelling in that area that's been affected. Something like almost a sunburn-like syndrome in that area. And then we get into the scarier things. Something like infertility can happen if you're being radiated. Alopecia again, which is hair loss. Damage to the lymphatic system. Can cause heart disease. It can cause cognitive decline, especially if it's done near the head. And then the big irony is that it can cause cancer. Well, there you go. We should also remember that palliative care is very important. Yes, it is.
When somebody finds out they have cancer, it's a bad thing. So that people go through a lot of mental health stuff, mental issues. So it's important to keep that in mind. If you know somebody with cancer or who's battling cancer, it's important to have palliative care.
It really is, because with any human health thing, and we've said this in a couple other shows. I think in our cold episode, our running episode, a lot of health is mental. It's keeping a positive attitude and it really helps your body somehow.
Yeah, I read a book once. It's called The Holographic Universe, and it's all about thinking and positive thinking and all that stuff. And I'm not sure how true this is, but they mentioned a few cases where people had cancer, and the only treatment they got was positive thinking, like thinking their cancer away, essentially. And after a year or so of this positive thinking and meditation and all that stuff, the cancer was gone. I'm not sure how true that is or how it works or anything like that, but I don't know. There's a lot of power in positive thinking. I believe that for sure. But other than that, I have no other comment about it.
I don't know about the whole getting completely rid of it business.
Yeah. I don't know. And so there's a new method that was all over the news recently about a few months ago, and that's treating cancer in a new way. And what it is, the news was just blasting this thing. That scientists injected HIV virus into a dying girl from cancer to treat her. And there was some good effects and so on, but the media was like, oh my god, these scientists injected AIDS into this girl.
I remember reading about that now,
and they're so unethical, blah blah. But this is so as the media does, it was so screwed up. And what it was, it's a very cool treatment. What it was is the scientists took T cells from the girl's body. And T cells are killer cells in our body.
White blood cells.
They're white blood cells that defend our bodies against foreign objects. Okay. Regularly, the T cells will not be able to recognize cancer cells because they're part of the body. So the T cells would just pass by a cancer cell, doesn't do anything, doesn't attack it. What they did is they took out T cells from the girl's body and infected them with a virus. The virus is not HIV. The virus is in the family of HIV viruses. And the reason for that being is because it's very easy to get into the cells. And when the virus goes into those cells, it reprograms the cells into producing a special protein. And that protein kills cancer cells. So what they did is, after taking the T cells out, they reprogrammed them with the virus and then injected them back in her body. And there was very positive effects. There was at one point they said they could not detect cancer, and then later on they started detecting some more cancer. But at one point during treatment, the cancer was completely eliminated. So it's still an experimental stage right now, but it's a very neat way of doing it, where you're using your body and viruses to fight cancer. So
that's really cool. It sounds like she was what we would refer to as in remission. Yeah. I thought it would be good to bring the word remission in, because that's another cancer buzzword.
Okay.
And it's just really brief. The word remission actually means the absence of disease activity in a chronic patient. So chronic means that they always will have that disease for the rest of their life. But when you're in remission, it means that the activity of that disease is pretty much non-existent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's very common with a lot of cancer treatment. It ends up putting the cancer in remission rather than completely eliminating the cancer.
Yeah. Do you know where the word cancer comes from? The meaning of the word cancer?
Well, I don't think I do.
Okay, so the Greeks, cancer was cancer has been around for a very long time. In 1600 BC, the people started documenting cancer cases, especially breast cancer. But the word cancer means crab-like, or something similar to a crab.
Crab-like?
Yeah, and the reason for that is because when there was cancer tumors or something on the skin that had veins or blood vessels around it, and they kind of looked like crab legs, and they described them as crab-like diseases or a crab disease. And that's why cancer in your horoscope is a crab.
Oh, it's a crab.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, exactly. In Arabic, cancer, the term for crab is the same for cancer.
Huh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Crab-like.
Yeah.
Weird.
So that's very interesting, I find.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Also, I have another thing to say here.
Okay.
Animals do get cancer as well. A lot of animals do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a big thing that people think about is that sharks do not get cancer.
Mm-hmm.
That's not entirely true. Sharks do get cancer. They can get cancer, but very rarely, and they're very good at fighting cancer. Most of the cancers in marine animals are not in sharks. That's, so there's two types of cancers that have been seen in sharks for ever. And the reason for that is because sharks have a way of fighting cancerous cells. Their bodies produce a protein that inhibits tumors or the cancerous collections from making, you know how the cancer, you were just saying, cancerous cells or the tumors not produce. They encourage the growth of blood vessels around them, so they can feed themselves.
Yeah.
So sharks produce this protein that discourages the cells from making these blood vessels around them. And what happens is after a while the blood cells the cancerous cells stop receiving nutrients and blood, and they die. So they suffocate. The shark suffocates cancer inside its body.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how it does it.
I wonder how it selectively eliminates
Yeah,
the development of cancerous blood vessels.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's something in the shark's blood as part of the cartilage, or I don't know. Cartilage, yeah.
Very cool.
Mm.
Wow. Go sharks.
Yeah.
There's lots of weird marine life that seems to never die. I think there's like a jellyfish or something.
Yeah, it just lives forever if you don't kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this kind of protein and these kind of things that sharks do, there's a lot of experiments on them and a lot of studies being done to kind of incorporate them into our cancer treatments as well. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wonder what would happen if you threw one of those proteins in one of us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the studies are being done on.
Yeah. Scary.
Maybe in mice
probably would not do very well.
Start growing fins and.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. All right, well, I think that pretty much wraps up our cancer section.
Yeah.
Of our cancer episode.
Yeah, grow mustaches in support of testicular cancer. I have a pretty banging mustache going on right now.
He does, and soul patch.
All
the world to imagine. So as always, we're gonna play a couple games to hopefully lighten the mood. Although we'll see what happens with our. We have 2 new games this week. We're trying out 2 new games, so we're gonna see how they go. We have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So our first game is gonna be called Doctor McFudge.
Dr. McFudge.
So we're each gonna be time permitting. We're each gonna be Doctor McFudge, and the other one has a host of symptoms that they're going to let us know about, and we're going to have to see if we can figure out what disease they have.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Do you want to play Doctor first, or do you want me to play
You know what? I'll be Dr. McFudge first.
Okay, cool.
You want that? All right, sure.
Okay, Doctor.
All right.
Dr. McFudge. Okay, so about 2.5 years ago, I was in India, and this guy was coughing at me all the time. I mean, he seemed like a normal guy. But he was just coughing, and we were in close contact for a few days. Mm-hmm. We were doing some manual work together.
Interesting.
And that was about 2.5 years ago. It's been a while. And I came back here, and I started developing these issues. I'm feeling the kind of numbness in my arms, numbness in my feet. It feels really weird. My body's all weak, and I'm developing these patches of rough skin on my body. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, Doctor.
Interesting. Well, you came back from India. When did you come back from India?
About 2.5 years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah. It's been about 3 years.
Interesting. Do you have any other symptoms that I might know about?
Yeah, I've been getting like sores and bumps on my skin, and in my right hand, I completely lost feelings in my right hand.
Wow.
My eyesight is degenerating quickly. I'm feeling really bad. Yeah,
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Did you engage in any sexual activity while you were in India?
I did not. No, not at all.
Poor guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, I cannot feel the fingers on my right hand. It's really bad.
Mm-hmm. Does it feel like there's pressure in your arm?
No, not necessarily. It's just my hands are becoming claw-like, I guess. It's very hard to open and close my hands.
Okay.
Very hard to, yeah.
Okay. Tell me more.
Okay, well, let's fast forward probably 6 months.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. How are you doing now?
Really bad. I'm blind in one eye.
Oh my goodness.
And my other eye is almost blind. You can tell my eyes look really, really bad.
Yeah, I can tell.
I've been having severe nosebleeds. I cannot smell. I can't, my nose has been really bad.
Oh
and I lost 2 of my fingers. My fingertips are gone.
Holy cow.
I lost feelings, and I got an infection in my finger. I didn't know, so I had to, cut the finger off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my feet are also, I lost feelings in my feet.
Wow.
And I've lost a bunch of toes as well. And the patches increased on my body.
I'm wondering, do you perhaps have leprosy?
I do have leprosy!
Oh, you poor man.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, so leprosy is caused by a bacteria that is very slow growing. It takes about 3 to 4 years to get symptoms from leprosy, yeah.
That's scary.
And most of us are immune to it, naturally. 95% of us are immune to it.
Oh, really?
So you probably won't get leprosy. And if you do, it probably won't become really bad.
Yeah, I think there's treatments for it. Yeah. Pretty effective treatments these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, well, in India, it's prevalent in India?
It's everywhere.
Oh,
I just picked India.
I
was going to pick South America because Che Guevara, the shirt I'm wearing,
yeah.
he dedicated his medical life to leprosy.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
See, I was wondering if it was either leprosy or bubonic plague. Because I don't know. So I don't have nearly as much information as you do. So we're gonna see.
Don't just say cough and fever now.
Okay, I have a cough and a fever, and that's all I'm giving you. No. Okay, so Doc. Dr. McFudge.
Yes, my son.
Might I call you that?
Yes, sure.
Do you have a first name?
No, just Dr. McFudge.
Just Dr. McFudge. All right, we'll keep this formal. I should start out by saying, before I say anything, that I am an alcoholic.
Okay.
Admittedly, an alcoholic. Yes, it's a problem I've dealt with for a while now. But a couple weeks ago, I was hanging out with this guy in a small room.
Okay.
We were hanging out together for weeks. We lived together, and it's a very small apartment. But he was coughing a lot, and just last week he sneezed all over me. Sneezed all over me, and it was kind of gross. I was like, oh,
that's not good.
Yeah. So I was thinking, oh, this is not pleasant. And then I was looking at myself, and I noticed a little later that couple weeks later that my fingertips were kind of swollen.
Ooh.
Yeah. They were swollen. The fingernails were being pressed out, and my toes as well.
Really?
Yes, it was very strange. It doesn't feel like much.
Okay.
But it's a little deformed. And then I started noticing other things, like I have a fever. I'm getting chills all the time. I'm getting night sweats. My appetite, it's just gone. It's gone. I lost it. I have no appetite, and because of this, I'm obviously losing tons of weight, and I'm really tired all the time as well.
Okay.
So I'm not feeling my best over here, Doc.
Yeah.
I could really use some help.
You're gonna have to refer you to a specialist here.
Yeah, I think you might. So then, those things are obviously pretty bad.
Yeah.
But they're not any more than any other illness that I've had in the past, like a flu or something. But then I started getting these chest pains, and oh my goodness, these chest pains, you would not believe. And along with these chest pains, my lungs, they just feel, like
pneumonia,
all congested. I don't know they feel thick and heavy, and I'm coughing a lot. And this coughing, it's producing a lot of mucus.
Yeah,
a lot of gross mucus, and it's getting all over my face and my hands.
Wow.
And sometimes this mucus contains blood.
Okay.
And I feel like that's kind of a bad thing.
Yeah, I think you have a disease that's common in a lot of people. It's almost, I think it's a high number of us have it. It just comes out when you have a weak immune system. Am I on the right track here?
We'll see.
I just forgot the name of it. I'm just thinking here.
You can't forget the name. I'm dying over here, Doc. I'm dying.
I'm thinking of what prescription to write you here. It was common in the UK, but now it's not as common. Yeah. I know what it is.
I mean, I'm coughing up a storm over here.
I know.
I can't contain myself much longer.
I'm working on it. As soon as you said the guy was coughing at you, I was thinking about what it's called.
If it helps you at all, along with this fluid I've been feeling in my lungs, when I reached down and felt the inside of my lungs,
there was sacs.
I felt granules.
We did an X-ray and there was a lot of stuff. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I could really use some help over here. I'm really wondering what's wrong with me.
I'm gonna write you a prescription for tuberculosis.
I think that's right. I think you got me.
Try these pills.
Yeah, nicely done. Very nicely done. That was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
So we had leprosy and tuberculosis were this week's doctor choices.
Yeah.
All right. So, our next game is called 8 Words or Less. So we have, 5 minutes? But perfect.
Yeah, sure.
We can do a couple 8 words or less. So we've each picked a couple of pretty broad topics. I think pretty much one-word things.
One-word topic,
yeah, very broad topics. And the other one is going to have to describe that topic in 8 words or less.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to start?
So do I tell you the word now?
Do you want me to tell you a word, or you tell me a word?
I'll tell you a word, and you describe it in 8 words or less.
Shoot.
And then I say if it's sufficient or not.
Sure.
Is that how it works?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, cool.
We'll do that.
My word is cocoa.
Cocoa? Okay, let's see. Let's see. Seed plant producing sweet goodness as chocolate.
Oh, I thought you were never going to say chocolate. I was going to fail you right away. Okay, yeah,
Seed
I guess.
plant producing sweet, sweet goodness as chocolate.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I can. Yeah, sure, I can do.
Good with that?
Yeah.
All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, mustache.
Oh, okay. Upper lip, manly.
Well, it has to make sense.
Manly.
Okay.
Upper
We'll see.
lip, manly. Movember.
No, it has to be a sentence.
Oh, it hasn't been. What?
Come on, mine was a sentence.
Okay, well, okay, here's a sentence. Okay,
It should be a sentence. 8 words or less.
Alright, cool. Furry animal lives on my upper lip.
Son.
Upper son.
Bro. Yeah, bro. Dude. Those are, yeah, okay. I'm pleased with that. Alright,
Okay.
Alright, hit me.
Iron.
Iron?
Iron.
Like
I-R-O-N.
Arwen?
I-R-O-N. Iron.
Iron?
Iron.
Like iron clothes.
Or like iron nails.
Like iron nails.
Yeah.
Okay. Like F-E.
Yeah.
Okay.
There, we should have said F.
Okay, let's see. Chemical element useful in building, but often rusts.
Okay, but often rusts. What else rusts? It's iron. Okay, alright.
That's like one of the things.
Alright, okay. Yeah,
When you think of iron, you think of rusty.
I'll give you that one. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
I'll give
Come
you
on.
that one.
Yeah,
Okay,
come
cool.
on.
Alright. Your turn.
Alright, my turn. Here we go. My next word is going to be cooking.
Cooking? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Mixing food in a bowl, then putting on fire.
That's it. That's 9. That's putting on fire.
Ah!
No. I'm
But
sorry.
you can't consider A as a word.
Yeah, you
Mixing
can.
food in bowl. I should have said mixing food in bowl instead of in a bowl.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Mixing food in bowl,
Then-
then putting on fire.
Yeah.
Alright. Very good.
Okay, so we have a few more minutes. I'll go with NASA.
NASA?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Used to be hip. Space travelers go moon.
Okay, used to be hip. That sounds like a movie. But
It's period go moon exclamation point if that helps. Go moon!
Okay. If somebody says that to you, would you think NASA right away?
Well, it's the only space exploration program I know of, so probably.
What about the cosmonauts?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, alright, sure. NASA, great, I'll give you that one.
Alright, thank you. Thanks for cutting me some slack there. Alright, internet.
Internet. Okay. Connection between everyone on Earth used for YouTube.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love it. Used for YouTube. That's perfect. That is perfect. Alright, I think that pretty much wraps up our show this week. Hopefully you all enjoyed our episode about cancer. We played 2 new games. Let us know if you like them on our Facebook or Twitter page. And you can also listen to this and many other episodes on our YouTube archive at youtube.com/user/fudge-the-data.
Cool.
And I think that's it. Do you have
Yeah, thank
anything
you for
else?
listening. Nothing else from me. No.
All right,
Follow us.
perfect.
Listen to us next week.
Yeah, come listen
Yeah.
to us next week and until December break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, we'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.